I always like seeing the number 54 because that's my birthday, May 4th. May the 4th be with you. 254. Wow, we've been spending a lot of time with spirit, haven't we? We've been spending a lot of time restructuring, reprogramming, retraining our minds to think differently. We've been spending a lot of time taking a lot of energy away from the ego mind. So lesson 254, we're going to continue on that path by putting out the request. Let every voice but God's be still in me. That's a command. Remember, you are the ruler of the universe, so command it so. Let every voice but God's be still in me. Father, today I would but hear your voice. In deepest silence, I would come to you to hear your voice and to receive your word. I have no prayer but this. I come to you to ask you for the truth. And truth is but your will, which I would share with you today. So very simple plan for the day. Today, we let no ego thoughts direct our words or actions. Or write it down. Today, we let no ego thoughts direct our words or actions. Are you up for it? When such thoughts occur, we quietly step back and look at them. And look at them. And then we let them go. So we are going to be aware of them. We're going to look at them and we're going to let them go. We do not want what they would bring with them. We don't want it. And so we do not choose to keep them. Everything is your choice. We do not choose. We do not cheese. No cheese. We do not choose to keep them. They are silent now. And in the stillness, hallowed by his love, God speaks to us and tells us of our will as we have chosen to remember him. You have a lot of power. You have a lot of control. It could take some practice, but it is possible for you to command that no ego thoughts. You don't want them. Today, we let no ego thoughts direct our words or actions. So they are going to come up. You're going to see them. You're going to look at them, and then you're going to let them go. But what you're not going to do is let them direct you, let them govern you, let them just, the ego will just fly shiz out of your mouth. Like you just say the stupidest, meanest, cruelest ego things. Were you petty today? You were probably in your ego mind. I love being petty. But not today. Not today. We let no ego thoughts direct our words or actions. We're going to step back quietly and look at them and let them go. We do not want what they would bring. So we are going to choose to not keep them. No, thank you. Then they are silent. We're going to silence the ego thoughts. And in that stillness, when we're in that space of love, then we can hear the voice for God. Then we will know our true will as we truly remember him. How to listen to the voice for God. Jesus, for lesson 254 in A Course of Miracles, said, you listen for the voice for God by focusing your mind. So keep on doing your forgiveness practice, and you need to stop indulging in hateful fantasies. You need to stop feeding the energy of the ego mind. And how to listen to the voice for God, you encourage and feed the energy of love and forgiveness. And then you listen for the gentle guiding voice, the gentle guiding voice for love, the gentle guiding voice for God. The ego's voice is loud and intrusive and obnoxious, and you will definitely learn the difference. So ask to only hear the voice for love. You use your free will and ask to only hear the voice for love. You've been practicing, you've been hanging out with spirit for 254 days, you've been feeding the energy of love and forgiveness. And now you are ready to dedicate your mind to that inner voice for God. Easy peasy. You are ready. You've practiced enough. You've come this far. It's a very simple boom, boom, boom to-do list, how to listen for the voice of God. You got to focus your mind. And you've been doing that, and you've been training your mind, and you've been practicing, and you've gained strength. You've gained strength and a light on your face. Where do you want the light? Ching! Do your forgiveness practice. Stop indulging in hateful fantasies. You need to knock it off. You don't want what the ego is going to bring. So use your mind, focus your mind, do your forgiveness practice. Stop feeding the energy of the ego mind. It's an energy blob. It's a thought system. Quit feeding it. Quit feeding the dark wolf, if you will. Encourage and feed the white wolf, the energy of love and forgiveness. And then it's that gentle voice that you're looking for. It's that gentle voice that you're listening for. The voice for love is gentle and guiding and feels good. The ego mind, not so much. So pathwaysoflight.org. Welcome to the reading, A Course in Miracles Workbook Lesson 254, Insights. Let every voice but God's be still in me. This lesson contains a one-sentence summary of the forgiveness process. When ego thoughts occur, we quietly step back and look at them, and then we let them go. We are not expected to be totally without ego thoughts. It doesn't even say if ego thoughts occur. It does not judge us for having ego thoughts. It simply concisely tells us how to deal with them. Consistently following this simple process will lead us home. The ego thoughts are not our own. Our real thoughts are the thoughts we share with God. We become aware of these thoughts in the stillness of our minds. That stillness is always there. It may be masked by the ego chatter, like white noise masks the quieter sounds in a room. Like white noise, we become so accustomed to the ego chatter that we don't even realize it's going on. Like people who can't sleep if it's too quiet, we become uncomfortable with quiet in our minds. We need to retrain our minds to choose peace instead of chatter, to choose stillness over chaos. We do this through the habit of stepping back and looking at each ego thought and then letting it go. This process of disowning ego thoughts frees us to claim the thoughts we share with God. Here is where our real happiness lies. Here is where we find perfect peace and love that shines on us eternally. Today I will step back and let the voices of the ego pass by and know God's love for me. Today's lesson holds the answer to every problem, every worry, every concern, and every reason we have for not being in peace. If we follow the guidance of this lesson, we will receive the truth about our identity. Ego thoughts will fall away. The sharp-edged children's toys will be laid down. Our fears, which stem from our belief in separation, will dissolve in God's healing light. We will again recognize that only truth is true, and the false stories of this world of separation are not true. We are eternally safe in the truth. We share God's identity. We are eternal love. The process we go through in awakening to the truth includes stilling our minds of ego thoughts. We have been so used to this entertaining ego thoughts that This sometimes seems very difficult to do, but just as any skill improves with practice, so stilling our minds of ego thoughts comes with practice. The more we practice, the easier it becomes. The Holy Spirit is always there in our minds, waiting for our return. We are not aware of God's loving presence until we still our minds of the ideas that are the opposite of God. In God, there is no conflict. In God, there is only peace and love and joy. In God, there is quiet. Love means sharing all with all. Love means union. Awareness of love's union comes through the quiet mind willing to let every voice but God's be still. Today, this is my practice. Seeing ego thoughts for what they are and letting them go is my practice today. Being willing to join with the Holy Spirit's bridge of return is my practice today. In quiet, I practice receiving the truth today. Let every voice but God's be still in me. I was noticing this morning that I was being judgmental of the people around me. It was such a casual, thoughtless process. For a moment, I felt discouraged. Why am I doing this? Then I realized that I have always done this. I just never noticed it. So I thanked God for showing me this habit and took each person to Holy Spirit and asked to see them without the artificial space I had built between us with my judgment. I am so grateful for this process and what it is doing in my life. I am so much happier than I have ever been before. Today, I was very peaceful, even when things kept changing in every meeting I went to. I tend to know most of my trigger points and know which meetings and items of discussion tend to bring more of the ego out in me. So I brought the Holy Spirit into all of my meetings to keep me from thoughts of separation. I was calm, but I also noticed that everyone in the meeting was able to voice their concerns in a calm and even humorous manner, and the points were still made, and everyone was able to see through everyone else's eyes, since many assumptions are made in meetings where little is known and quick decisions must be made. It amazes me every time I turn things over to Holy Spirit how much better things turn out. Better than I ever could have conceived. pathwaysoflight.org. Okay, good job. I just always giggle at the end because even though I've read pathwaysoflight.org over 500 times easily now, I've said that so many times, I still look at it every single time to make sure I'm reading it right. pathwaysoflight.org. So there's your official invitation to go visit pathwaysoflight.org. They've got some great books and courses and all types of support, free information, lessons. They have teleconference phone calls every week on the regular with people who are dedicated to the voice for God. So that's where you're at now. That's where you're at now in your journey, in your practice, in your study, in your living study of A Course in Miracles, because you're putting it to practice in your life every day and you're noticing how it's making your life better. And yes, now it does seem like the ego is a crazy bugger, but that's just because you've become better at noticing it. You're not letting it run around unattended, feeding off your energy. Now you're aware of it. So if it seems like it's grown bigger, it's really just because now you're noticing it more. And now you're silencing it more because you are aware of it. So thank you for the awareness of where I'm putting my energy, of which thought system I am feeding. Who am I taking to the party today? Ego or Holy Spirit? How do I want this to go? Okay, kind of know what happens when we take the ego. Anything, forget anything. It could be freaking wild and vicious and devastating and very much so entertaining. Well, but is that the way we want to live our life anymore? Or do we want things to go easy and good and beneficial for all and calm and peaceful and better than we ever could have thought? So take Holy Spirit with you everywhere today, every meeting, every interaction, every party, every thought, every observation. If you find yourself being judgmental, because that's just what you've practiced, hand that person over to the Holy Spirit. Visualize it if you must, however you want to do it. Let Holy Spirit scoop them up and hand them back to you different. Let him clear the imaginary space that you've created in separating yourself from that person. All right, so anyways, that's that. Lesson 254, let every voice but God's be still in me. So it's going to be a very quiet, but very energetically productive day, coming to our true selves in deepest silence, listening for the voice, receiving the word for God. That's the only prayer you need on your lips. Let every voice but God's be still in me today. No ego thoughts. Good luck. Let me know how you do.